evidence whatsoever. When no intelligence agency has evidence, then that shows that they have no legitimate right to punish Iran for something that Iran has not done. And if we look at history, we see that Iran, for example, during the Iran-Iraq war, when the United States not only, and the EU or EEC countries at the time, not only did they help Saddam Hussein produce chemical weapons, they also, especially the Americans, helped Saddam use them through satellite intelligence, through satellite information. And in addition to that, the United States actually instructed its diplomats to blame Iran for Saddam Hussein's chemical attacks. While the Americans were involved in mass murder and the usage and production of weapons of mass destruction against ordinary Iranian civilians and Iraqis, the Iranians did not produce or use chemical weapons during the Iran-Iraq war. So the Iranians, who have had clean hands throughout the history of contemporary Iranian history, throughout the history of the war and after the war, they have much greater credibility when talking about weapons of mass destruction than does the United States, which has helped rogue regimes like Saddam Hussein produce and use chemical weapons.
Well, right now, looking at the situation at hand, Mr. Malandi, Iranian lawmakers, we know, have been readying a bill that would oblige the government to enrich uranium to 60%. They say if Iran is hit by new sanctions. And just recently, the Foreign Ministry said that the negotiations will end, the deal will be annulled in case of new restrictions. What are the implications? Does this mean that sanctions, if they're imposed, will create a new standoff that would take even more years to be resolved?
Well, I think if new sanctions are imposed, this would bring a more rapid end to the sanctions regime, because the international community and independent countries, Asian countries, Latin American countries, African countries, Russia, China, and others, they would see the American position as being an irrational one and based on impeding progress at the negotiating table. And that would create an incentive for them to improve relations, and including trade relations with Iran. I think the Iranian parliament made the right choice, because basically what it is doing is saying that the United States Congress cannot use sticks here. The Iranian government and the 5+1 have agreed upon a plan of action. The 5+1 includes the United States.